Morning all, it's Acre here. This week, instead of giving you one long lecture, I'm going to give you several short ones that you can view at your leisure. And then there will be some credit activities and little papers and things to be uploaded that will be attached to some of the videos. And I'll make sure you understand this. But in this first one, I wanted to talk about three misconceptions about college level writing and this class that people tend to come in with. I've worked with students for a long time, and over the course of learning from my students, I've isolated three things that apply both to my students and to myself when I was learning to write. First off, the first week of this class gives you a little bit of a misconception. A lot of you probably feeling like this class is going to be really easy and there aren't going to be too many discussions and that sort of thing. The reason the first week is easy is I know people are getting situated and figuring out how things work, and especially with Canvas coming in new this term, typically the first week is very light. And so if you form the misconception that this is going to be a really easy class that isn't going to require much work, you need to sort of chuck that. This is a 4-unit academic level writing class, and it's a summer level course. So things are going to pick up pretty quickly next week, and I don't want people to be confused by the impression the first week is formed. Realistically speaking, in my experience, 20 to 25 hours a week is about the right amount of time to think about spending on this class. I'm not exactly the village idiot, and I doubt that very many people are going to spend 25 hours a week, although I am. But if you think you're going to pop in for an hour or two on the weekend, that's a strategic error, and if you'll pardon my use of the vernacular, that'll bite you in the butt. That won't work. So you have to decide the balance between your life and your work, and then do the best you can. That's what we all do in every situation. So just keep in touch and try to be realistic about what we are going to accomplish over the summer, and you'll be fine. So here's the first misconception that I've learned from students and myself over the years, and that is that in college level writing, you're supposed to be interested in everything you write about. Every topic you're assigned you're supposed to be interested in it. That's simply not true. I've written the kinds of little essays you're writing. I've written hundreds of them, and I can probably count on the fingers of one hand or two at the most the ones I wrote in which I was really interested in the topic. So if you're suffering the misconception that you're supposed to be interested, and if you're not interested, you're supposed to wait to become interested, that's a dodge. That's procrastination, and that never works. So here's the truth of the matter. In fact, the default position is that you will not be interested in topics that you're assigned most of the time. We're not necessarily checking for your interest on a topic. We're checking for your skill and developing your skill to formulate and express ideas clearly and precisely. And so if you're waiting to become interested, stop waiting and get on with the work. That's a fact, and that is the truth. So the best way to think about it in most situations is it's a job, get it done, and then move on. If you become interested in your topic, that's amazing and magic, and then it goes easier and quicker. But if you're not interested in your topic, which most of the time, again, you will not be, then you follow the techniques. For instance, if you're going to bake a chocolate cake, and you're not particularly interested in baking a chocolate cake, but you want to bake the best chocolate cake you can, because that's the kind of person you are, then you get out the recipe book and you follow the recipe. And I have for you recipes for everything, which we're going to be exploring this week. And if you follow those recipes, you will find the work goes easier and quicker, and the result is better. If you decide not to follow my advice, that's fine. You're adults and this is college and I'm not your mother. But remember, part of what you're paying for in the tuition and fees that you pay for this class is my expertise and my training and my experience with literally thousands of college students. So I know what I'm talking about. If you're not interested, get out the recipe and follow it exactly, and things go easier, and the result is better. That's up to you, of course. But again, don't wait to become interested, because most of the time you will not be interested. That's a simple fact of academic level writing. You can do very well. In fact, you can excel on a topic in which you are not interested. But you have to follow the techniques and follow the recipes and then let it go. It's a job, get it done, move on. Okay? That's the truth. The second thing is the misconception that academic writing at this level is hard. It isn't hard. It's tedious sometimes and it's challenging sometimes. But again, out of respect from what I said in my first point about inspiration and interest, I know that you will not be interested most of the time in the writing topics that you are assigned in this class or any other class. And so I've provided blueprints, guidelines, whatever you want to call them. Do it this way. This is how it works. Follow this recipe and you'll be fine. That both makes the job easier and it makes the job go quicker. And importantly, most importantly, the end result is better if you follow the recipe than if you just wander around in the dark and try to figure it out, or wait for inspiration to strike you from the heavens, neither of which works very well. So the successful student is the student who gets those 2 points. You can excel and do beautifully well in spite of the fact that you're not interested, if you choose to. And you can make the job a heck of a lot easier and quicker, and the end result a heck of a lot better if, when you're not interested, you simply follow the recipes. That's all there is to it. And I think those are the two most common misconceptions that I find that students come into a class like this with. If you can disabuse yourself of those misconceptions, you'll find your progress goes much, much more quickly. Okay, so that's the end of lecture number 1. After you view this one, then move on to lecture number 2, and so forth and so on. And I'll make sure that you know when you're expected to upload a little piece of writing. That'll become clear to you as you work through the lectures. Okay, so off we go. Bye.